We're officially 1 year out from the T20 World Cup, but we're getting excited already. Butch is here. He's looking at his watch. He's looking at the season. It's not quite time yet, not even halfway there, but we're still getting excited. World Cup fever after the summer, you know. It's set in, and people are excited about England, even more so considering their performances against New Zealand recently in the T20 series. Again, looking like there's going to be a couple of options for England to choose from that could give them a selection headache. So recently speaking now in that T20 series against New Zealand, who impressed you with the bat first?
Well, I mean, Dawid Malan, his numbers in all of the T20 that he's played, and there have not been very many of them, are staggering. And then, of course, he makes a record 100 in the deciding match. So he's pushed his case right up there to be included in the squad. England, of course, have got a lot of senior players, perhaps to come back into that team. I think Tom Banton is a superstar in the making, and that
everyone expects the fireworks from him after the county season. So.
And if he's not involved in that squad in a year's time, I'd be very, very surprised, because I think the sky's the limit with him. It's sort of disappointments, I suppose, for somebody like Sam Billings, who once again has sort of had the chance without the top card being present to really push his case for automatic inclusion. It hasn't worked out for him again, and he might be feeling a little bit worried about whether or not he's going to miss out. But other than that, there wasn't a great deal to shout about beyond those guys.
What about Joe Root? Should he be worried there about possibly not being in the mix?
I don't think so. There'll be plenty written between now and then about his workload, about the being involved in all three formats, how difficult that can be. His style of play, is it slowly going out of fashion? My mind always goes back to the 2016 World T20 that England very nearly won.
Good
I mean,
times,
who was it that won that?
Very good times,
who was it that won
that one. The mighty West Indies.
Oh, it was them. It was us lot.
Yeah.
West Indies, yeah.
Of course, you're one of our own.
And so, Joe Root was magnificent in that tournament. So, look, I wouldn't write him off as yet. Yes, he's under pressure because England have an enormous amount, a big pool of players to choose from with the bat who can go out there and score high velocity runs. But class is permanent, and to have somebody as good as him in conditions that aren't always going to be, slog fests, tough one to leave him out.
It's a tough one to leave out indeed. What about the bowling now? Because again, spoiled for choice, especially with the seamers. I mean, we're talking Chris Jordan, who absolutely performed fabulously. Jofra Archer has yet to come in, but we know exactly what he can do in that format as well. You've got the Curran brothers there in the mix too. So what are you seeing there? Who's impressing you the most?
Well, I'm just really pleased to see Chris Jordan sort of leaping to the forefront. He's been a fabulous performer in T20s for England over the years. Brilliant fielder, made runs too. He's just he's got everything going on, and he's one of the best blokes you could ever meet too.
Definitely.
So he's got plenty going for him.
We raised them well in the Caribbean.
Absolutely, yeah, and then we finish them off when they come over here.
Exactly. You make them into superstars.
So that's terrific to see.
And then Jofra, you expect him to just pretty much pick up where he's really kind of not really left off, because he's just getting started, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. We kind of talk about him as though he's been around for years.
Yeah.
because that's how good he is. But yeah, I mean, England have got plenty in reserve in terms of the quicks. Pat Brown, Saqib Mahmood perhaps didn't really sort of show anything that you would say, right, that puts them right up there in terms of selection for the World T20. But as I say, it's a year away. Another year on sort of inexperienced bowlers can be a huge thing. And who knows, injuries, anything can happen between now and then. And then England, of course, staying with the bowlers, but looking at spin, we're absolutely right to take Matt Parkinson out there. He's been a solid performer more than solid performer in the blast over the last couple of years, and with the sort of ongoing worries about Adil Rashid and his shoulder, absolutely sensible to kind of get another leg spinner in there. You absolutely have to have a leggy. You have to have a leggy in your T20 lineup, and so they blooded him. He did all right when it really counted down there towards the end of the tournament in New Zealand, and the more game time that he can get, the happier that England and the management will be. That if the worst should come to the worst with Adil Rashid, they've got somebody else they can throw in there.
And what about your captain now? Do you really just look past Eoin Morgan?
Well, I mean, listen, the whole thing at the end of the World Cup was entirely based around whether or not he felt that he had more left in the tank.
Give,
to give.
And clearly he does.
And clearly he does. So,
I mean, clearly.
That's it. With him, if he feels that there is another mountain there to be climbed, if he was going to be ready, willing, and able to put the time in to sort of throw himself at trying to win the T20 to go along with the 50 over World Cup.
But in terms of his demeanour and stuff, this is kind of the kind of captain that England just needs in another tournament.
It doesn't change, does it? That's the thing. The players absolutely love playing for him because he gives them ownership of decision making, and he makes it their team. It's not about him. It's not his his 11. It's not all the decisions aren't made by him. They're made through him, but not by him. And what that does is it gives the players the feeling that everything that goes on out there in the park, they're all responsible for it. It's not just for one guy. They love playing for him. He's obviously got the drive to sort of go out there and do it again. And with the bat, he can still dong them out the park with the best of them.
Exactly.
So he'll be there.
All right, and finally, I know this is a tricky one to ask because, again, we are so far out. But with everything that you've just said and feeling that, people are definitely excited about England cricket again, sort of seeing them exercise demons in the 50 over World Cup. Now you might want to exercise some demons as well in the T20 World Cup. So how are you feeling this early on out about England's chances?
Well, I'm excited about what they could put out there on the park. You add the likes of Tom Banton and possibly Dawid Malan. You've got another young leg spinner. You've got a couple of young quicks who are still yet to prove themselves. One of Pat Brown or Saki Mahmood might force their way into the reckoning in a year's time. You add that to the undoubted quality that they've got in the team anyway. People like Stokes and Bairstow and Roy, etc., to come back into the team. It's a dangerous team. And nobody gave them a chance to get into the final in 2016. They did and very nearly won it. So I don't see any reason why that's any different this time. But there are a lot of teams who can win it too.
There are a lot of teams.
Everybody else is going to be saying exactly the same thing about their 11s. Everybody's going to fancy their chances. But that's T20 cricket for you, right? And that's what makes it such a great
glorious
format.
Uncertainties indeed. But for now, it seems to be all good in the hood for England.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.